What is up, guys? It's Rollin' Dirty coming back at you with yet another video. I actually recorded this yesterday, but didn't publish it to YouTube simply because, as you can tell, this one's already pretty long, and if I'd combined it with the other footage I took yesterday, it would have been ridiculously long. I'm not going to shorten this video down, simply because there's a lot to look at if you're somebody who appreciates the natural beauty of Western Washington. Today I'm going to be riding up into the mountains. You can see that I'm already there. This is the trailhead for the Cascade to Palouse Trail, which crosses from Western Washington over the Cascade Mountain Range and across Eastern Washington, goes all the way to Idaho. If you watched my previous video, this is the trail that I was referring to that trains used to run on to carry commodities across the state and to other locations. We've had a lot of rain here recently, and so because of our elevation, there's also been some snow at this point, but a lot of that's melted that's on the trail, and it's causing some kind of wet conditions. But it's the Sherman, it's supposed to be able to handle this kind of stuff, so we're just going to cruise forward on it anyway. I didn't know how far I'd get on this trail. Obviously I can't take it all the way across the state, and I know for a fact that I couldn't even get through the Snoqualmie Tunnel because it's closed at this time of the year due to weather conditions and snow warnings, avalanche warnings, things like that. So I just thought I'd get going and see how far I could actually get on here, because there's some pretty scenic views a little further up the trail. So here where I can, given the amount of daylight that I've got left in the day and the distance I need to cover, I'm moving a little quicker in this lower elevation stuff. At some point in this video, and I won't tell you when exactly, but at some point you'll note there is a moment where I'm in some pretty wet material, and it doesn't appear that way on the surface to be as deep as it turned out to be, and as a result I lose traction. The tire starts to slip and torque and slip and torque, and you'll see me go back and forth, and eventually it takes me off the path. But it's a good testament to the advice that I've heard from others, which is, in the event that you find yourself losing control of the wheel, ride the wheel out as long as you can, because by so doing you'll have an opportunity to slow it down before you have to bail, if you have to bail. Anyway, keep watching to see that moment. I slowed it down so you can see it well. Even as I start to slowly gain elevation, you can see there's a little more and more snow on the trail. And as I get up higher, you'll find that the trail is mostly covered in snow. And there's some avalanche areas too there's small avalanches that have covered part of the trail and made it impassable for vehicles, but passable by foot or on a bicycle. Something as narrow as a unicycle or bicycle can get through. But even further down, you'll find that my journey is stopped today by a number of trees that had fallen over the trail and had not been cleared. And I just figured it was going to continue to become more and more a problem the higher I went, because of the amount of snow. This area received an ice storm a little while ago that was pretty significant, probably one of the ones on record for the state. And as a result, there's just a lot of fallen branches and fallen trees. Everywhere I go, that's the case. So needless to say, trail conditions are not as they were the first time I rode this trail. The avalanches bring rocks down too, and they're not the round kind. These are, jagged rocks. And if you've got snow covering on top of those, they're kind of hard to see. And if you nail one of those with the unicycle, it probably won't pop your tire, but it might spin you sideways or something. So these were the things that I had in mind while I was riding today. This is the reason I bought the Sherman-Max. I wanted the 3600 watt-hour battery, and I wanted to be able to move at pretty good speed with a good amount of torque, and I wanted something that would cool well. And the Sherman-Max and the original Sherman were actually known for their ability to cool. Temperatures don't climb as quickly as some while going uphill. I know for a fact my V12 high torque does not cool the way that the Sherman does. And so this was one of the factors that went into me making the purchase, because I knew I'd be, where I live, I knew I'd be encountering a lot of hills, and that I wanted to go over the mountain, and that is a constant climb. Something that this thing had no problem doing. And I believe I go in about 9 miles, and the return is about 9 miles as well. In this video, I'll only show you part of the return. I'm not going to show you, the entire return, simply because it's covering the same ground. But in the scenic areas, the view on the return is pretty nice, so I kept that in. So if you guys are debating between the street tire and the off-road tire, this is the off-road tire, and this is the reason I chose it. Because I need this wheel to be able to do this kind of stuff. Still give me traction. Well, also being a pretty good tire on pavement. And this, I think this is the Kenda tire, the 262, I think. These tires are known for tracking well on and off-road. You can't turn as nimbly on them, but you can still turn, and they will do, they'll do corners the way you need them to do, regardless. But turning in a small space, like if I want to turn around on this trail, is a little more complicated with the Kenda 262 than it is with a road tire. That's really the only downside to it, in my opinion. I actually like the sound it makes when it's on pavement. People can hear you coming. I'm starting to slow down here a little bit because it's starting to get a lot wetter. And the view's also improving, so there's that. This is why I ride. This is it right here, guys. You know how much longer that would have taken me to walk to this point? It's why it never happened prior. These old railroad bridges are really cool. when you look at the timber structure, it's hard to believe they supported, you know, the mass of a train, but they did. Up on the right here is a kind of a depot for materials that the people who service the trail use. It's got culverts and, you know, that kind of stuff. It's getting colder and colder the higher I go. And right about now it starts to occur to me that if my wheel broke down right here, I'd be in kind of a pickle. I didn't check to see if I'd cellular reception, but I wouldn't be carrying an 85-pound wheel down the mountain. So in retrospect, it would have been good to bring a large, durable plastic bag, you know, a thick mil bag, like 6 mil bag, backpack, probably a charger, and maybe some fire starting tools in the event that I got stuck and got cold. There were fewer people on this trail than I expected today, so given the infrequency of passerbys, it would have been a better idea to be more prepared than I am currently. A little more snow bit by bit as I continue to climb. I did expect it to get a little cold. You can tell I'm wearing a fleece underneath my outer jacket here. So if you're wondering why I look a little more like the State Puff Marshmallow today than in previous videos, that's the reason. And it's doing the job though, it's keeping me warm. Here's a power station. I don't know where it feeds power to, but I'm assuming it's power station along the supply line for one of the municipalities in the area. Alright, back to writing. Well guys, if you've been waiting, the moment is coming soon where you'll see me lose control of the wheel and go off the trail. So pay attention a little longer and you'll see it coming up. This is the extra wet area since this is where a lot of the most recent melting has been occurring. At this current elevation, you know, where there's still some snow on the ground, but also wet. You'll notice we continue to go higher. it becomes more snow and less water. But this is where it's the slickest. This is where it's the toughest for the unicycle. Never been down that road. That's one I need to explore. I think it's the one that the trucks come up to access the trail to service it. And here we go, folks. I'm not even moving that quickly. Watch the wheel. Slides left, then right, then left. And then it spins a little bit more to the right, and I'm heading off the trail. But you know, I kept my feet planted until I came to a stop. And, I'll tell you, initially, my first reaction was to jump off the wheel, when I started to lose control. But if I'd done that, I'd certainly be on the ground, and who knows what else would have happened. But instead, because I stayed on the wheel and just tried to slow it down while it was going off-road, I was able to keep it upright and kept myself out of what was a pretty muddy and wet ditch, which would not have been good if I'd gotten wet this far out when it's this cold. All right, there's more scenery ahead. I'm going to keep going up this trail a little further. I'm going to see how far I can get before it becomes impassable to me or I just run out of daylight. But check this out on the left. That sound you hear is the cars on Interstate 90 down below. Epic. This is my favorite bridge on this trail. It's puts you right over the tops of the trees. You can see the snow, you can see the stream from all the melt, and then check out this view on the other side. Can't beat it. This is where the service truck stopped and turned around. You can see the rocks on the trail here. These have all come off that mountain from ice and snow erosion. And they're new to the trail. And if I were to nail those head on at speed, it could send me off the side over here. So you gotta pay attention when you're on these trails that are, you know, where there's a pretty sheer edge. It's unlikely that anything's going to send you over the side, but if you hit a rock in a glancing blow with that tire and it turns your wheel 45 degrees to the left and you're moving 25 miles an hour, you're going over the cliff. So it's important to be careful in these kinds of scenarios. Some might suggest that I should be wearing a tether for this ride, and they might be right, but there's the other side of that coin, which is this 85-pound wheel. If it's moving at speed and I'm tethered to it, if it goes off the cliff, then I'm probably going with it. There's a spot for lunch. On a warmer day, I'll bring one. Alright guys, this goes a little further. Up ahead's a little more snow, some obstacles on the trail, beautiful scenery. I'm going to go ahead and let you watch that and leave the commentary off for now. If you have any questions about anything you've seen, or about this trail, or about Sherman-Max, or any of the other unicycles I have, which is the Begode RS-HS, the King Song 14D, and the InMotion V12 High Torque, feel free to put those in the comments. I do check the comments, and I will answer any questions that I can. Also below in the description box, you'll find affiliate links for vendors of unicycles where you can pick up your own. It doesn't cost you any more to use the link, but it does benefit the channel and help support us. Alright, if you're new to the channel, or if you haven't already, I'd appreciate if you like and subscribe. Please comment below too if you have any questions or comments. And I just want to thank you for taking time out of your day to watch my video. This will play out for another 10 minutes of footage, after which it'll be the end of the video. So I appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you next time.